Hello and welcome to Budget with Brian. And today, what I thought I'd talk about are items like these. I'm planning to do a series on structured cabling, and one of the most important items that we need to talk about is cable testing. So this is I think it's a brand name, ModTap. Within sort of the cabling world, these ModTap tools or testers that sort of clip together like this. It's a fairly universal sort of term for this type of tester, certainly in the world that I've worked in the past. And a set of proper ModTap testers like this can be sort of about £40. But look, hey, before we get into any depth, if you're not already a subscriber, please do hit that subscribe button and ding the bell. As always, we'll have links below to where you can find these things, and of course we're always interested in your comments. So we started off with the de facto, the tool that every guy in the cabling world has either owned one in the past or has one still in his box today. Something at the very other end is a Fluke Tester. This one's quite an old one now. This is called a link runner. And this one I have to say, has seen some better days, and it comes with some extra parts. It'll measure the distance that the cable is run, which is useful. Now, in actual fact, when I remember when these came out, these were somewhere along the lines of about £450. I mean, you could connect these to a network, it would ping a device, you could set things up. I could see that back in the day, this was sort of quite useful. But at that price, not very popular, I suspect. Then we have the super cheap. Now, this is a little bit more like the ModTap here, in that it comes in two parts, a sort of sender and receiver, and this one will just simply test that each of the little cables in your Cat 5, Cat 6 cable are connected and sort of really nothing else. But these come in about sort of £6 delivered from China. You've got to put a battery in it yourself. But yeah, at £6, have a couple of these if you're working in this sort of area sort of quite frequently. Now, what's sort of in between something like this at £6, something like this, or the non-brand £35, £45 version that also has cable tracing and a few other features? Well, I can tell you it's in this box. So this is about somewhere between 12 to 15, something like that, delivered. It comes in two parts, which will get those parts out. Also comes with a little pair of really awful headphones, and I'll explain what those are for in a minute. And then it comes with some fly leads for doing some sort of specific telecoms testing, which realistically I don't think we'll be getting involved in that in too many more years. And the obligatory manual, which I have tried to have a little go of it, but it really doesn't. You just got to try it out. So, why do you need one of these? So I picked this one out of sort of many of the others, mainly because it has a cable tracing feature, and so it comes in two parts. This part, emits a tone on the cable. So this is an oscillator. And then this part that you have at the other end is your amplifier, and it just amplifies that signal so you can hear it. And then once you've identified that cable, then you can then plug it in and get a wire map and see that it's all connected and it's the cable that you're looking for. Here is our network cable. Now, of course, this cable would be a lot longer and potentially unterminated, and you would have a bundle of those ready to be identified. And of course, the purpose of what we'd look to do here is, first of all, identify our cable, get it labelled correctly, and then get it terminated at both ends, and then do a wire map. But first of all, let's see how we can find it. So on the oscillating end here, you set that to scan. You plug the cable in, and then you turn on your amplifier, and then you press and hold the scan button. And as you can see, that signal gets louder the second you get closer to it. So you can turn the sensitivity down on the amplifier there. There we go, found it, right? So you can see how that's useful in a massive bundle of cables that you can end up sort of finding which one it is. And then you can plug the cable in the bottom there, and it will show you the connectivity, that all of those, there's no broken cables in there. So then the next thing you can do is you can change that to network, and then it'll cycle through the pins to show you which ones are working well. So that's the unit in a nutshell and how it works. Yes, there's other features in there, but these are the main ones. I just turn those off. I must add, actually, also on this end, you also have, if I turn it back on again, you also have a little LED light on the end that you can turn on and off, because sometimes you work in a dark area. So that's really the two units. Both take a PP3, a 9-volt battery, which, yeah, fine, okay. But my criticisms. Realistically, the way this is labelled up is not very intuitive. I think really when we're seeing the word tone, we really want that to be putting putting the tone on the line. So this scan feature really doesn't make sense. This network symbol, I think really it should say wire map. So again, it's funny labeling, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with the quality of the plastics and how it comes together. And indeed, it's a good set and a good strong tone that can be easily found by the amplifier. So all in all, for the cost of this unit, which, as I said, I think it was somewhere between £12 and £15 delivered. I mean, what a bargain! Out of all of the ones I've owned over the years, when it's this good and this cheap, an absolute must. On top of, actually, do you know what? This is pretty good as well, at sort of £6. I will just show you this one in action as well. So, as I say, it comes in two parts. It's a lot. This one's a lot simpler in operation. You just turn it to on, and then plug your cable in that you want to test. And then you plug in your remote end. It's got an RJ45 and RJ11 option. And there we go. Sorry, it wasn't sitting on the battery part quite right. So you can see, this is at the remote end. This is at the beginning. And in effect, it's actually got two speeds. Is what it all really has. It's got on, which will just cycle through them relatively slowly. I think hopefully you can see that on the camera as it cycles through those pairs. And then you've got sort of fast. Maybe it is sparse because it does begin with an S. I don't know why. Maybe it's short. Maybe it stands for short. But yeah, I mean, these are a bit of a no-brainer. But no tone, no cable traceability in that sense. Just wire map. Useful nonetheless. If I were to make any sort of improvements, as I think I'd sort of mentioned, apart from the labelling, it would be smart if they had an ability to change the tone on there. Maybe it could have several different patterns. And why do you want several different patterns? Because actually what you want is half a dozen of these. plugged into all different areas of your network or your cabling structure, and then that just allows you to work with a couple at a time, because tracing out hundreds of cables one by one is a bit slow. But of course, really, you should be labeling up your cables as you go, so you know which ones are which. But if you haven't, tracing them out with a tool like this is really good. And for completeness, this is one of the Chesterville Electronics oscillators. If you're a BT engineer, you'll recognise this straight away as a PTS 287 oscillator. This has a battery pack that takes 6 AA batteries. It's quite a beast. It's really used for long distance telephone cable tracing, but clips on with crocodile clips rather than having something useful like an RJ45 plug. But of course, if you're out in the street tracing cables, that's not what you want. Well, actually, what you probably want is one of those IDC inserts, which I do have one, which back in the day were quite difficult to get hold of. But and what they do is you plug them in, they break contact with the other side, and you're able to turn them round. They've got sort of like a polarity. And this is the feature that I was kind of mentioning I wished was available on the device I've just bought, which is to be able to have multiples running at the same time. So this one has a variation in rate of how quickly it oscillates. It's as simple as a potentiometer here, to be able to just speed it up and slow it down. And so good. Hopefully that's been interesting and useful for you. Please do comment below if you've got any questions about these sorts of tools or want to see something else. And don't forget, subscribe.